Personal story segment tonight. I watched a little bit of the Academy Award telecast last night. Wasn't over the top. I thought Kimmel did a pretty good job. But as usual, the political comments were all left-wing. However, not all actors are liberals. Here's what Ravid Davi recently told Neil Cavuto.
For my Hollywood colleagues, well, I wrote a piece on it the other day. I tell them to just lighten up right now, Neil. I want to have them invite all the immigrants, all the refugees, all the migrants, all the illegal criminals. I think we should open up the rules for the Academy. It'd be a good idea. Let's just forget the rules. Forget the rules for the studio. Let's open the gates in Bel Air and let people camp out. I think it's time that we really show our hearts in good faith. Why have any boundaries at all?
Mr. Davi being facetious. Joining us from Boston to respond, Marianne Marsh. From Washington, Katie Pavlich. So, this is more of a philosophy thing, Katie. It's, all right, if you're going to advocate for open borders, as many left-wingers are doing, you know what, you got to put them up. When they come on in, you got to put them up. And you say?
I don't think that you should literally have to put them up, but the issue here is that Hollywood elites, Hollywood liberals, like to preach to the rest of the country about what they should do, that they're intolerant, that they're bigoted, and yet they don't seem to put any of the work into making sure that these people have housing, what the cost to the taxpayer is, what the national security risk is to bringing in refugees from countries that don't have central governments. And so the philosophy of saying one thing and doing another certainly applies to Hollywood. It's not just on the refugee or immigration issue.
Well,
it's
certainly
with global
some
warming
of them,
and gun control and all of that as well.
I know liberal Hollywood actors who give a lot of money to charities that help migrants and that help certain people that they support. So I don't think it's fair to on a condemnation level. But do you take it a step further, Marianne, so that if you're saying, okay, I want open borders, which is really the code that most of this crew is in. No border enforcement. Don't bother them when they're here unless they're heinous people. Let them do what they want. Do you have an obligation then to do more than just write a check to a charity?
It's always better to walk your talk, to Katie's point, and it's always better to help causes publicly or privately. It helps your credibility. But I think what you've seen across the board today, whether it's Hollywood activists and actors, institutions, establishments and others, people don't follow their lead anymore. They don't have the influence on the public discourse the way they used to. And on the other hand, there isn't the punishment anymore if there's one set of rules for you and another set of rules for somebody else, even when you take a stand on something. I think that's the big thing here.
Do you feel it's hypocritical for somebody like Barbara Streisand, who's a avowed liberal woman, to have the biggest security in the world, okay? I mean, you can't get close to her. All right, she's got guys and she's got machine guns and tanks. All right, but then she said, "Oh no, don't bother let them all in." Is that hypocritical?
It is, but she's not a public figure in the sense that she's an elected.
I'm not trying to make an excuse, and I'm sorry I singled her out, but I think everybody knows. You go to her website. All right, so you feel that is hypocritical. I understand
what you're saying.
Yeah,
of course it is. Of course it is.
You know, there are neighborhoods in this country that have been flooded with people who shouldn't be in the country. Hempstead, Long Island, where I live, M13, the Salvadoran gang, wreaked horrible havoc on people who have no power at all.
Right.
And they're going, wait, how are these people here doing these terrible things? And yet you have these rich people out in Bel Air that Mr. Davi pointed out going, wait, don't come up my driveway. I got 18 dogs. Go ahead,
well,
Katie.
Bill, that's the entire point. So, yes, it is one thing to give actors who have a lot of money and actresses who have a lot of money, they give checks to charities that help certain organizations. But this doesn't include the big picture about the fact that illegal immigration hurts the middle class and the poor Americans in this country. Unchecked immigration and unchecked immigration from countries that don't have central governments with terrorism running rampant hurts this country. And so Hollywood elites play around all day in their gated communities with their walls, their 24-hour security with their armed guards, while the rest of us, they preach to about certain things that we should be doing.
Tolerance.
That we are bigoted and intolerant if we do not allow these people in. Well, they have the luxury and they can afford to keep themselves away from all of that.
We must all be inclusive.
Except for them when it comes to their front door.
All right, ladies, I'm going to go back to my safe space while we have a commercial, and when we come right back. Britt Hume on the Iranian